Hello, hello. I'm super excited to be here. I've got a jam-packed session for you guys today. We're going to be talking about all the must-have e-commerce email flows that you need to be utilizing. So if you're a brand, you have to make sure you have these. And if you're an agency, consultant, freelancer, make sure that you're setting up these for your clients. And my name is Chase Diamond. I could not be more pumped and honored to be here. Really quickly to get through my bio before we talk about really kind of the meat of why we're here. I'm a partner at an agency called Structure. We're one of the top e-commerce email marketing agencies. I consider myself, probably like many of you, a massive email marketing nerd. I've been in e-commerce email specifically for the last 7+ years, and I've been doing email marketing in general for the last decade plus. And in the last 7 years, we've generated $200+ million in email attributable revenue for our clients. And I also own and run one of the top weekly email newsletters and copywriting newsletters with over 100,000 subscribers. And one cool thing that was really cool that just happened is Shopify named me as the #1 e-commerce influencer to follow for success. So really pumped and kind of stoked to have that. All right, well, let's dive in. I really want to start with kind of some definitions. Let's get the boring stuff out of the side. But so we're on the same page for this presentation. When I talk about a campaign, it's a one-time send to a group of people. So if you think about a holiday email, some kind of product launch, some kind of flash sale, that's my definition of a campaign. A flow basically is an email automation. This is triggered every single time some kind of behavior or event or action happens. So if someone's on your list, they add to cart and they don't buy, that's going to trigger the abandoned cart. If someone is on your website, enters their email into your pop-up for the first time, that's going to trigger the welcome series. And that's really primarily what we're focused on today is kind of the flows, these core automations. And the last one is called a transactional email. And it's just like a flow, right? It's an automated email, but it's typically around activities that are after purchase, things like order confirmation, purchase confirmation, shipping confirmation, things like that. So now that we have the definitions out there, what we're going to cover today is, again, the must-have email flows. And the reason I wanted to do this on the flows is because when done correctly, these will drive tons of engagement and revenue, right? Someone's on your list or they opted in to get to your list in the case of the welcome series, and then they take some kind of action, right? Which is then going to prompt an email. So because they took an action, they're going to receive an email, meaning these people are going to engage a lot higher than typically for like a one-off campaign. That being said, it doesn't mean that you can set and forget these. So these are going to make money for you around the clock, but please don't set and forget these. Don't let them go stale. Don't let them collect dust. You should be iterating ongoing, depending on the size of your list. You should be testing weekly all the way to probably about monthly, give or take, if you have a smaller list. So that is really important to know before we go into everything. And kind of with this, when I think about this, I like to think about these automations or kind of these flows in terms of pre-purchase and post-purchase. You want to think about all the things that you need to do and all the emails you need to serve people before they've actually made a purchase. And then, right when they make the purchase, don't stop there. You want to send post-purchase emails. So on the pre-purchase side, I'm going to cover kind of a lot of what's on the screen: the welcome series for non-buyers, the site abandonment, the browse abandonment, the abandoned cart, the abandoned checkout, the back in stock. And then we'll move to the post-purchase where, I'll cover a lot of here, which is like customer thank yous and review requests and replenishments and cross-sells and upsells. And I'm going to go through all of this, but if you want to take, 2 seconds to screenshot this, go for it. These, in my opinion, are the must-have email flows. There's a lot more that exist outside of these, but if you have these, this is like 80-90% of like the foundational parts of what you need. And all the other stuff is kind of nice to have more advanced flows that you can build out as your kind of brand or as your client's brand scales. So let's start at the top, pre-purchase. And here I'm going to talk about the welcome series for non-buyers. And I'm not going to go into this, too much because I think this is fairly straightforward. But essentially, what happens is when you're on a website, a pop-up flyers or some kind of opt-in form flyers, you enter your email, and then that's going to trigger the welcome series for non-buyers, right? So then at any point in time in this sequence, if people buy, you should boot them out into a post-purchase flow. Don't continue sending them welcome emails if they make a purchase off the first or second email. Don't send them subsequent emails, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you have. And really, the goal of the welcome series is a couple things. Number one is to deliver the pop-up incentive. So a lot of times people are offering some kind of discount, 10% off, $10 off, or maybe it was free shipping. So whatever it is that you're promising to get people to opt in, make sure you deliver that within your welcome series. Additionally, you want to build trust. And the best way to do that is social proof. So things like customer reviews, press mentions, any kind of endorsements you guys have gotten. You really want to build trust, and that's done through people seeing themselves using your product or service in the eyes and the shoes of someone that looks like them, talks like them, speaks like them, has the same kind of beliefs as them. And then also too, you want to offer content and value, right? You don't want to just push the discount or the offer down someone's throat. You want to share content. You also want to help people highlight best sellers, like what are other people loving, and therefore I might love too. So showing people what to buy, teach them about your company, about your brand, how to use your product, why it matters, how you're different. And with that, that really leads into kind of the brand affinity. What are your unique selling propositions? What are your unique selling points? What makes you different? Why did you start the company? Is it from kind of this burning desire that you had where you had a problem and you wanted to solve it for yourself and now you sell this product to other people as well? And then additionally, right, you want to answer questions and objections. So addressing FAQs, letting people kind of know that they can hit reply to get a question answered from you. And then ultimately, right, we want to tee up the purchase either here or in the near future. So if we could get them to buy during this welcome series while they're hot, while they're interested, while they're engaged, that is fantastic. And if not, we basically want to make sure that we get them so close to the point of buying that our subsequent kind of campaigns, the one-off sends that we're going to do, any types of abandonment flows, any types of back in stock type things, will hopefully get those people to buy, right? So at the very least, we're warming them up here, and the best cases, we're getting them to buy. And then with that, here's just like a brand that I like called Magic Spoon. This is kind of 4 of their welcome series emails. So from left to right, kind of over here, welcome to the land of Magic Spoon. That's email 1. And then this email over here with the picture of the founders is email 4. And real quickly, right? So they basically welcome you to the brand. They kind of talk about, why they built it. They talk about then like us versus them, right? This is this great way to kind of position yourself as like the better alternative. We're healthier. We don't have all the usual junk, right? Really teaching you like what's in it for you as a consumer is the fact that like you still got to eat great cereal, but it's not as bad for you, right? It's a better alternative, a better version for you. Here in the third email, right, they're kind of going through some social proof, showing some of their best sellers, and then the last email, right, they're kind of putting themselves front and center, smiling, and allowing you to kind of ask questions. So this was a fantastic email sequence that really teaches people about the brand, helps them focus on the benefits that they'll receive, and for whatever reason, if they don't buy, or if they're confused, or they have questions about the process, etc., they can hit reply and ask the founders a question, right? So this is fantastically done. So the next one is what's called the 4 abandonment flows. And most brands, I'd say, are missing one or more of these. So we're working with about 100 something e-commerce brands. All of our clients do between 7 to 9 figures in annual revenue. And those guys, other people that we audit, people typically are missing at least one or more of these. And there's one called a site abandonment flow. I honestly think that I help popularize or kind of make people known about this in one of the courses I have. But that's one that I haven't seen really many people talk about. So I'm really excited to talk about. But real quickly, let's talk about kind of the funnel as a whole. So if you look at this kind of chart here, this is this chart that I made where it's this inverted pyramid, right? Where the most number of people are going to be at the top of your homepage, and the fewest people are going to be making it through checkout at the bottom, which is this dollar sign. But at each step in the drop off, you want to serve people content to move them along in the funnel. So for the site abandonment, the browse abandonment, and abandoned cart, those require someone to already be on your list for those emails to fire. Whereas with the abandoned checkout, that could be someone either A, already on your list, or B, someone whose information you're collecting for the first time at checkout. So to kind of quickly explain these, the site abandonment is basically for people who are on your list, come to your site, they view kind of about us, or they view a category or collections page, they just scroll your homepage, whatever, but they don't specifically look at a product or add to cart or start checkout or buy. That's the site abandonment. And the big thing here is you don't want to send these all at once. You want to prioritize the one that's furthest on the funnel. So in the event that I just said, the only one that we could send is a site abandonment. However, if they looked at a specific product, instead of sending the site abandonment, we would send the browse abandonment. And that's done with the email platform that you use through kind of filters in the flows. If you have any questions about that, doesn't make any sense, let me know. Happy to clear that up. But basically, you're going to set these all up to allow people to enter based off the action they're taking. And then for whatever reason, if a subsequent action happens, you're going to pause the one that's furthest up the funnel and focus on the one that's more bottom of the funnel. Bottom of the funnel meaning closer to actual purchase. Browse abandonment, though, just like it sounds, people are on your list, they're looking at a specific product or multiple products, but they don't take the subsequent action. We want to show them kind of the things that they viewed. Abandoned cart, abandoned checkout, I think those are fairly straightforward, but there is a difference. So I do want to delineate that, and I'm going to talk about that here coming up. So I already talked about how they require people to be on your list. and that whatnot. So here's kind of the trigger. So I kind of briefly explain the first two, but the trigger that they typically take. So for someone to receive a site abandonment flow, the trigger, the action will be someone's active on your site. And this happens when you connect your Shopify and your ESP or whatever platform you're using with your email platform. They should be able to talk together and monitor and know when someone's active on your site or not. The next one, browse abandonment, is specifically someone viewed a product, abandoned cart is added to cart, abandoned checkout is checkout started. So the difference between the abandoned cart and abandoned checkout is literally one is people added to their cart, but they did not start checkout. The other one is they added to cart and started checkout, but did not make a purchase. So here's kind of a quick one. I'm going to go through a few of these. Here's a quick one on site abandonment. This was one for one of our clients that we worked with called The Chivery. They have a big media site called The Chive. This was one we'd built for them in the past when we worked with them during kind of quarantine and COVID, where we kind of did this funny thing of like, hey, can't decide which teacher to buy? Pick your favorite snack that you had throughout quarantine, COVID, whatever, and we will help you make the right decision. And at the end of the click of each of these, right? So there's 6 different kind of foods: popcorn, cookies, chips, etc. We would recommend to them, some kind of t-shirt that they might like based off of their interest in this. So this could typically be a creepy email, but when it's done in a fun way like this, it doesn't feel creepy. So I recommend doing kind of something witty and fun if it's on brand for you to do. The next one is the browse abandonment. So again, briefly talked about this, but kind of the premise here is someone saw something or multiple things at your store, and they probably liked maybe one or more of those things. They might have just got distracted, whatever reason. That's why they didn't take subsequent actions. So basically what you want to do is you want to, what I call, convert curiosity into cash with this series. So email 1 is kind of just a simple reminder, letting them know that they looked at some great stuff and encourage them to jump back in, obviously showcasing the thing that they looked at. And then from there, the next thing is kind of this reminder that they haven't purchased and of the thing that they viewed. And if you can include like social proof and reviews around those products for those things, that will help basically those people be like, all right, I see other people like me using and benefiting from these things. I probably should, benefit from it too by making a purchase. And the last one, if they still haven't purchased, here's where you can probably introduce a discount if it's on brand. Some people don't like to discount, but I think it makes sense to move people from consideration into conversion is offering them a discount. Maybe this is what they're waiting for. And basically you can say, hey, you might be overthinking this. Here's a discount to make it easy. Say yes, go buy this now. And then here is kind of just a couple quick emails that we made for one of our clients called CrossNet. They make like these really cool kind of 4-way volleyball kind of sets and a couple other things. Great team, great product, great business. So from left to right, you're going to want this for the summer, 5 stars, and then kind of introducing a discount. So exactly what I mentioned is what we built out for them, and you can see that here. Okay, so I talked about this briefly, but again, the main thing to know is that there's a difference between abandoned cart and abandoned checkout, and you need and want both. Both drive a lot of revenue. So again, abandoned cart is the trigger added to cart. Abandoned checkout is someone started checkout started. And kind of with that, let's look at the abandoned cart. This is one of the examples from one of the clients that we worked with in the past called Ibex. They make like really nice merino wool products, and this is the first email for them. So we basically had the subject line of you left some sheep in your basket, right? So they make this merino wool, as I mentioned, and then other subject lines you could use are things like, "Oops, did something go wrong? We reserved your cart, forgetting something," that type of thing, right? It's just kind of a simple, quick reminder here that like you left products behind. And then the next one is the abandoned checkout. So it's kind of similar to the abandoned cart, but it's a little bit different. And the nice thing about this, so in the fact or the case that maybe you use like Klaviyo and Shopify, this is kind of ready to go, integrated by default. You obviously have to kind of make some adjustments and changes. And the reason this works so well is people are furthest down the funnel. So if you remember that pyramid, right, the most number of people at the top, the fewest number of people at the bottom, but the people that make it this far have high intent. They're interested. They're warm leads. They're your best leads. They have the best case of converting. So these are the people that you really want to make sure that you convert. And this is kind of similar to the other example. This is for another client called Ibex. This is a second kind of abandoned checkout email for them. And this basically says your skin will thank you for it as a subject line. And it just talks about like the quality and kind of the comfort and just really selling like why this product is so great and why so many people love it. So that kind of wraps up the pre-purchase stuff. The only one I didn't mention was kind of the back in stock. That's a fantastic one. Can be set up as an automation or can be set up as a campaign. Back in stock make a lot of money, especially if you're collecting people's emails. for specific notions that they want that product that went out of stock. We see insane opens and click-throughs and conversion rates for back in stock for our clients just because it's very high interest, very high intent, and people had that FOMO, right? They missed out in the past. They don't want to miss out again. Now let's talk about post-purchase. So post-purchase, right? Once people buy from you, that's not when the relationship ends. A lot of people make that mistake because they try so hard to get someone to actually buy. And then when they buy, they kind of like, all right, cool, job here's done, we're over it. No, this is the opportunity to do a lot of things. One is you want to say thank you. You want to show your appreciation to your customers by saying thank you. This is going to help strengthen your bond and reduce buyer's remorse, which ultimately is going to set up getting a better review, B, getting a repeat purchase, C, getting referrals, them telling their friends and their family about you and your company and your products. And then if relevant in this kind of customer thank you product education, teach them about your product. If your product's kind of expensive or confusing, or he knows a lot of FAQs on like how to actually use it, do that. We worked with a huge company in Australia called Calming Blankets, and we basically wrote this really nice plain text email, just like, hey, thanks so much for your order. While you wait for it to arrive, I wanted to teach you how to use it. And then here are the 3 ways. Because what we noticed is when people got their product before we had this email, people were like, am I doing it right? Is it working? Am I concerned? And then customer support just got bogged up with things that could have been addressed with this email. So we made this email, and a lot less people had questions and concerns, and were able to start utilizing the product right away and get the maximum benefit and value. And then, right, so there's kind of this nice flow also too of like a product education flow. And I think this is for products that need more education than just a couple of things. So one of our clients sold like these custom goggles, and they're for like triathletes, kind of swimmers, etc. Like, people that are using these really need to use these properly because they're swimming, they're training, they're competing. Like they just cannot have any malfunctions. So basically, what we did is we did a 3-part email sequence where we taught people about the goggles. So here's how to wear them, right? Strap tension, strap position, and nose pieces. This is making sure that when you're using them, they work to your benefit, not to your demise. The next one here is talking about like, hey, by the way, it could get foggy if you do this wrong. So don't touch the inside of your goggles. This is how you clean them, right? This is how you make sure that they don't fog, because the last thing you want to do is be underwater swimming and you can't see where you're going. And then the last one too is about caring for it, right? So after you use it, we want to make sure that you can maintain the integrity of the product because you paid a lot for it. So rinse the goggles and use a protective case, right? So this is just a really great way to show people that you care about them, that you're teaching them, and ultimately, right, like especially with something like this, like, maybe it's an exaggeration, maybe it's not, but like people's lives are at stake, right? When people are swimming in a competition in the ocean or even in the pool, right? Some of these things kind of don't work, and they don't work well. Like, something bad can happen. And that's probably a little bit extreme, but you want to kind of get ahead of that and just teach people how to use it so that way they're going to be okay. Okay, replenishment flow. We're kind of going to the next one. So for things that are consumable or topical, so if you think about like food, drinks, skincare, multivitamins, right? You want to do a replenishment flow. And the goal here is to remind people that they're getting close to running out, so that way they can buy from you again. And really what I typically like to do here is for someone that makes the first purchase, I like to send them a replenishment flow to get them to buy again. And then if you have a product that has a subscription component, after they bought from you twice, instead of pushing to a replenishment flow, push them to a subscription flow. Subscribe and save. But this type of thing, for example, if you're doing like a multivitamin and it's a 30-day supply, people are going to run out in 30 days. You might want to hit them on day 21 or day 25 and just say, hey, you're about to run out. Click add to cart and purchase, right? Make sure we ship it to you in time. That way on day 30, you've got your next pack ready to go for the next day. So immediate cross-sell and upsell. So this was something interesting we did with one of our clients that you can see here. About 2% of people converted right away, and then about almost 1.5% of people converted, 24 hours later. So these people our client did almost an extra, 27, 28 grand in revenue in 1 month just by us doing immediate cross-sell and upsell. So essentially what happens is people buy, and then, typically 15 minutes after, as you can see the trigger here, we're going to say, hey, do you want to buy more stuff? You can add to your cart for 15% off more products, right? Here are some of the things based off of, what we know about you, add these now, right? And then if they don't buy, 24 hours later, they get this email countdown timer. By the way, time's running out, use this discount. So selling people more of the stuff that they just bought at a slight discount and them being bundled together is a really great way to just make more money and sell more product and increase kind of your lifetime value of a customer. And that's really the goal of really, I guess, post-purchase, and kind of talking about that now here. It's like the goal of post-purchase is to deliver the best kind of thank yous, bonding, appreciation, and then set up the next purchase for things that people actually need and want. And with that, right, like there's this model called RFM, and not a lot of people talk about it. It's kind of an older school thing, although I feel like it should be a new age thing. This is one of the most helpful things I first learned in marketing a decade ago. But RFM is basically recency, frequency, and monetary value. So recency basically means how much time has elapsed since a customer's last activity or transaction. So when did they buy last? Frequency is, let's say, over the last, 30 days or last 90 days. Let's say the last 90 days. How many times did they buy from you? And monetary value is in those times that they purchased from you, how much did they actually spend? And this is a great way to leverage segmentation and a great way to treat people like VIPs, because you want to talk to different people differently. You don't want to treat all VIPs as the same. And RFM has kind of like these clever, funny names where soulmates, these are your best customers. They bought recently, they bought frequently, and they have the highest monetary value. So what you do for these people is going to be different than what you do from these other people, and then from just non-customers in general. Lovers, right? These are people that bought recently, however, they don't buy so frequently, and they buy lower value products. New passions, right? They bought recently, they haven't had the chance yet to buy frequently because they're new, but they bought expensive stuff. So these are people that you want to nurture. And with that, right? Segmentation, kind of RFM. Outside of that, there's two kind of primary approaches you want to take when deciding on who your VIPs are. Number one is big spenders. So people who have spent X amount over Y amount of time. So if you take your average over the last 90 days, maybe it's $100, your big spenders are going to basically be people that have spent more than the average. They've spent 120, 150, $200, right? Whatever it is, they've spent more over that same period of time. Frequent purchasers, however, are people that maybe didn't spend a specific dollar amount, but people have purchased a specific number of times. So maybe your average customer buys 2 times every 90 days. These customers have bought 3, 4, 5 times, etc. And you want to include a restriction of time when you do these, because otherwise you might end up with people from 5 years ago or 2 years ago. You want to focus on the recency. That way you're not focusing and hitting inactive customers or people, that aren't VIPs. Okay, so with this client here, I'm going to show you, they wanted to do a 15% off special VIP discount. They don't typically do discounts, so they wanted to give a VIP discount to their best customers. But outside of using discounts, I like doing exclusive access. So putting your VIPs into a Discord or a Facebook group, giving them exclusive content, so high quality info and insight, giving them first dibs on new releases, giving them priority customer support, and priority support, and then surprise gifts and personalized thank you cards. These are all things you guys can do to really show your appreciation above and beyond just a discount type of a thing. So quickly go through these. Here's the 3 emails from left to right. Hey, you're a big deal. Thanks for being a great customer. Here's some of our best sellers. By the way, this discount isn't going to last forever. This isn't something we normally do, but we wanted to make sure that you could have this. And then, by the way, this is ending soon. This ends at midnight. Take advantage of it, right? And again, if people purchase on email 1, don't send them emails 2 and 3, right? You only want them to receive, the fewest number of emails until they make the purchase. And that was that. Thank you guys for having me today. I hope that was helpful. I hope that was clear. I know I went through that really quickly. We had a lot to cover in a short period of time. On the screen right now, here's my email. My last name is technically pronounced Diamond, but we have no A in Diamond. So, if you write this down, my last name is Dimond. So send me an email if you have any questions, if you want to work together, if you want the presentation, whatever it might be. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I share a lot of great marketing, copywriting, email marketing tips and tricks every single day. Same as Twitter, if you prefer Twitter, or I guess people call X these days. Follow me here at Ecom Chase Diamond. Again, no A in Diamond. Thank you guys again, and I'm excited to hear any questions you guys have. So I'll talk to you guys here shortly.